Do you like bacon? I bet you do. But did you know that there's an easy way to cook it with little mess afterwards? Let's find out how in this episode of Out Loud Geek. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss a variety of topics, including science fiction, fantasy, cooking, the outdoors, and more. A full breakfast with bacon and eggs is a great way to start the day. Cooking bacon, however, can be a lot of work. If you're like most people, you probably fry the bacon in a frying pan on your stove. This requires constant monitoring to prevent burning, knowing when to turn the bacon over, and avoiding becoming spattered by hot bacon grease as the bacon fries. Then, after cooking, you have to pour the bacon grease from the frying pan into something that you'll probably throw out, and you'll very likely have to wipe down the stovetop to remove the bacon grease that's spattered onto it during cooking. It's a lot of work. If you've tried to microwave bacon, the results aren't necessarily bad, but you're probably not going to have crispy bacon, and you will have probably used a lot of paper towels to absorb the bacon grease as the bacon cooks. There is, however, an even better way to cook bacon that will result not only in crispy bacon, but also the easiest way to get rid of the unwanted bacon grease. That method is to bake the bacon in a regular oven. So I'm going to show you two different pans that I use to cook bacon on in the oven. And they are different sizes for depending on how many strips of bacon I'm planning to cook. The smaller pan can hold 4 to 5 slices very well. This pan, however, can hold up to about 12 to 13 slices depending on their thickness and how well I can put any along the sides if I need to. So for today, I intend to use this one because I'm going to be cooking about 6 to 7 strips of bacon. So to cook the bacon, you want to pick a fairly decent temperature, and the temperature that I normally bake the bacon at is 375. So I'm going to set the stove to bake at 375 degrees, and I'm going to turn on the fan. We're going to see how loud that is on the video, hopefully not too loud. Another thing that is very important is you don't want to just put the bacon on the bare pan. If you do that, you're going to have a very big mess to clean up when you're done. The way to avoid that is to put a piece of foil on the pan. And it is very important that you use a piece of foil that completely covers the entire pan. If you have any breaks in the foil or any tears in the foil, then you will have bacon grease leaking onto the clean surface of the pan. By placing the foil onto the pan and then carefully spreading it out, flattening it, taking care of the sides, you create a clean surface that will trap all of the bacon grease that will cook out of the bacon, which makes cleanup far easier. So the important thing now to place the bacon on the pan on top of the foil is you absolutely do not want to rip the foil at all. To loosen the bacon, I usually have to use a small fork because bacon is usually packed very tightly, and that's generally the only way it'll come out. So you take the strip of bacon, carefully lay it down on the foil, and if you need to move the bacon after you place it, you can either carefully do it with the fork, or you can get some tongs to better place it. So here, I'm using the fork to push it over without interfering with the foil. And as I said, I'm going to do 7 slices, so they're spaced out reasonably well here. I can push this one over a little more if I want. give a little more room, which is a little closer to the edge than the one over there. But that doesn't really matter. It won't make a huge difference how close they are to the edges, because the heat inside the oven will be more or less equal all around the pan. So here's a better view of the bacon slices before I put them into the oven. I just wanted to show this because the way the light was reflecting off the foil, it was hard to see the bacon as it looks, without all the light reflecting on it. So here's a better view, and the oven has now fully heated to a temperature of 375 degrees. And so now I'm going to put the bacon into the oven. And you simply lift it up, open up the oven, slide the pan in, and it's sitting, I have it fairly low, but it's sitting more or less even in the oven. So what I normally do is, for this many slices of bacon at 375 degrees, I normally will cook it for a total of 16 minutes. This will ensure that the bacon is fully cooked. Depending on how crispy you want the bacon or how many slices you're doing, you may have to adjust the total amount of time. You may have to increase it, for example, if you're cooking more slices, or if you are, in some cases, using 2 pans to cook a lot of slices, then you'll definitely have to cook it longer. Now, in the case where you have a lot of bacon cooking, you may also have to remove bacon when it reaches its fully cooked state, but not all the bacon may be fully cooked, so then you have to put the pan back in, let the rest of the bacon cook, and then just monitor it. But typically, for this many slices on one pan, it will be a flat 16 minutes, at least with this oven at 375. If you cook it at 350, it will take longer to bake. If you cook it at 400, it will take less time, but you're going to want to watch it more carefully to make sure it doesn't burn. Now, if you are cooking a thicker sliced bacon, then you may have to cook it at a higher temperature just so you're not cooking it for as long. So the bacon has been cooking for roughly 12 minutes. I'm going to be taking it out in about 4 minutes. And as you can see through the window, the bacon is all sizzling away. There is bacon grease on the foil, which is where it will stay. It doesn't spatter all that much. There is some spattering that will accumulate inside of your oven. But beyond that, the bacon grease, 99% of it will be sitting within the foil, which is going to make cleanup very easy. So the bacon is almost ready to take out of the oven. Time is ticking down. And before I take it out, I will put the exhaust fan on high, so it may make it hard to hear what I'm saying. But the reason I'm putting the exhaust fan on high is because a tremendous amount of steam is going to get released when I open up the oven door. And there's the steam. If I don't put that on high before I do that, there is just way too much steam sitting in the kitchen. Carefully remove the pan. You can see how cooked the bacon is. And now I'm going to set it on top of the rack. Close the oven. Make sure that it's all turned off. So, to get a better view of the cooked bacon, I've turned the vent fan back down to low so it's easier to hear me talk. And as you can see, the bacon is, after 16 minutes, is completely cooked. And the bacon grease is inside of the foil, and provided that I did not rip the foil at all, it will be all contained in the foil. The advantage of cooking bacon this way is that If anytime you are baking it and you cook it at the same temperature and the same amount of time, and it's roughly the same amount of slices that you're cooking, you are going to get consistent results. Now to remove the bacon, it's very easy. I just use a pair of tongs. I go underneath each slice, I bring it over and set it onto some waiting paper towels. Just like you would normally do if you had fried the bacon in a pan. And that was my dog barking, if that came out on video. So the bacon comes off very easily. It generally won't stick very much or at all to the foil. It just lifts right off. And you can see that because I cooked it for as long as I did, it's crispy. And as it cools on the paper towels, it will get slightly more crispier. But the bacon is completely cooked, as you can see. And it's going to be extremely delicious. So here is the hot pan. It is sitting on top of a cookie rack to let the pan cool faster. I'm not going to do anything for a while with the foil. I'm going to wait and let the cookie sheet and the foil cool down. The foil itself won't really retain much heat, but the bacon grease is still very hot, and the baking pan or cookie sheet, however you want to refer to it, that's going to be fairly hot too. By having it on the cooling rack, it's going to cool down very rapidly, and within 30 minutes to an hour, it will be sufficiently cool. So it has been roughly 30 to 45 minutes since I pulled the bacon out of the oven, and we've eaten it, and it was absolutely delicious. So now I'm going to show just how easy it is to clean up after baking 7 slices of bacon in the oven. So you very carefully take the foil on either side of the baking sheet, and you carefully fold it over onto itself to allow the bacon grease to kind of flow into the middle, and so that you don't spill any of the bacon grease. And you continue crumbling up the foil to get it all together. And as you can see, the baking sheet is also cold, so there's no problem with it. And off it goes. I'm done with that. Now, I might have spilled just one little drop. There's 2 little points here where a little bit of bacon grease got out, so that was probably from me folding the foil. But beyond that, the baking sheet is completely clean. So I did a very quick cleanup of the 2 little grease spots that were right there with a paper towel and some soap. Cleaned it up, wiped it off with some water, dried it off with another paper towel. The cooking sheet's now completely clean, except for this little drop of water, which I'll get rid of. And it can now go back in the drawer where it belongs. Thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to press the like button below. And if you'd like to see more of our videos in the future, please subscribe to our YouTube channel right now by clicking on the subscribe button. If you'd like to leave a comment, please feel free to post one below. See you next time on OutLoudGeek.